start out with Coach Petrino. He's standing by and ready to go, and then we'll follow him with our defensive coordinator, Ryan Beard, our offensive line coach and run game coordinator, Jeremy Darvo, and then recruiting coordinator and running back coach, Ronnie Fouch, will back cleanup today for us. So with that said, we'll start off with Coach Petrino and your initial thoughts on what we have so far on signing day.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the class that we're signing today, and we expect to have a couple more before the day's over with that aren't quite in yet. But I think number one is it's a great job by our assistant coaches. Very different year in recruiting as far as not being able to go out on the road and not being able to have official visits and guys come onto campus and see that. First and foremost, I thought they did a great job of evaluating and working on watching video and phone calls and background checks and getting to know the players and what they're all about. It's different when you can't go out and watch them practice or watch them play and watch them play basketball. You feel like you don't really get to know them that well, but we tried to do the best that we possibly could. We had Zoom meetings with players and parents and all kinds of different things, virtual tours. So it was extremely different, and I thought our assistant coaches did a great job. We recruited all over the country. We actually ended up signing 9 guys from different states and 1 from New Zealand. So I thought it was a great job, hard work, and they did a really good job. Our emphasis going in was on the offensive side of the ball was offensive linemen. We wanted to get bigger and faster and more physical there. We wanted to get a couple running backs that we felt like were not only talented running the football, but the size and strength you need to protect and the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. We wanted to get a good tight end that we felt would really help us in the run game with his strength, but also have the ability to stretch the field and catch the football and move. And we thought we did a good job with that. Defensively, we ended up taking 6 guys, I think it was. The number one emphasis, we got 5 right now. We're still waiting on 1, I guess. But the number one emphasis was linebacker. I thought we did a really nice job there. We got 3 guys that have speed and explosion, and really all 3 of them could play any of the spots. That's what I think is so nice about that, is they're interchangeable and not one guy where you just say he's a Mike linebacker. And they're all going to get bigger and stronger. And the thing we wanted to see, and I think they all can do that, is really run, defend the pass, and tackle really well in space. So that was kind of something that we really felt good about. We wanted to get a couple of safety/nickel players. We thought that was really important to us. And then we have a D lineman that hasn't quite got his scholarship in yet that we think is going to be a really good player for us too. So overall, we've had 15 in, expecting 2 more here shortly. And I think it was something that we had a really good day. Of those guys, 7 of them will be able to come here in January. And then hopefully, I don't know if all 7 of them can play this spring. We might have to get a waiver or 2 to see if that goes through or not for some of the rules that they have. But it would be nice if we can get all 7 of them to play this spring, but I'm not sure if that's a possibility or not yet. Well, I know 1 can't because he played this fall and he cannot play in the spring, but hopefully the other 6 can. But any questions on that, and then I can turn it over to some of our assistant coaches.
Yeah, Coach, I mean, Kyrie Mcdonald's one that stood out this morning. Just people look and see Alabama next to Missouri State and everything. That kind of makes people excited. But seems like a couple of these guys also you took some risks on, whether it's been previous injuries, some stuff with Kyrie having seizures in the past. Just kind of what went into your comfort and going after a few of these guys.
Yeah, on Tyreek, we knew Tyreek real well from high school. LD Scott, our defensive line coach, was recruiting him all through high school. We had him on campus when I was at Louisville, and so we knew him really well. We did a lot of background work with his doctors, and he was cleared that he was able to play football. And Even the research that we did here, there's been players that have played with that, what he has, and our medical staff and trainers were comfortable that he'd be good to go. And we're real excited about him. He's a tremendous talent. We'll probably play him at safety and some nickel. The other thing that he's great at is returning. I'm really excited about his ability to return kicks and punts and all the things he can do with the ball in his hand. When you watched his high school tape, and it was always a question whether you wanted to play him on offense or on defense. So he's a tremendous talent. Who were the other questions about?
I mean, you have there's another one, Louisville, the running back Tobias Little, and then you have Austin Cunningham as well. Both had some injuries that kind of set them back a little bit. And you had Tobias at Louisville, and you recruited Andrew coming up. Just a couple of running backs that seem to be high reward guys with a little bit of risk there at injury.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we feel good about is Jeremy Webb and what he did and how well he played this fall, and the fact that when we took Jeremy and we knew he had a history of some injuries. It's amazing what the medical people can do nowadays and how well guys come back from it given the right time and their ability to sit out from it. And Tobias is a guy who, came to us as a linebacker, was a good linebacker. We needed a guy to play big running back and fullback. He moved over to the side, did a really good job playing fullback for us one year. Leading into the next year, he was competing to be our starting tailback. His ability to run with the ball, catch it out of the backfield. He's a 237-pound guy that ran 4.5. He's really good in the weight room. And it just so happened that the scrimmage before our first game, he got hit low and injured his knee. And, he feels like he's back 100%. And I'm excited to get him here, and he'll be a guy that can play this spring and line up there. It's a real benefit that he comes in. He already knows the offense, knows the protections. So I'm really excited about Tobias. He's got 2 years to go, and he's very dedicated to it. He's already got a degree in his pocket. So he just needs to decide whether he wants to pursue a master's or just another major. So I think he'll do real well. Andrew is a guy that we recruited really hard out of high school. I think I got to know Andrew when he was like 15 years old and had a great relationship with him. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was the first game of his senior year or right before the first game of his senior year, he injured his knee. We still brought him in for a visit, tried to do everything we could to get him to come in and maybe pay his way for a semester, and because we needed someone to play for us, and then put him on scholarship, and he decided to go to Georgia Southern. He's a tremendous talent, great character guy. Someone that I think will be a really good player for us. And both guys are big and physical, can protect and catch the ball. That's one thing that's exciting for me is how well they catch the ball out of the backfield.
Coach, how much importance was there on the 3 fall games to kind of see where you really needed to kind of fill in with some recruiting? Was it key to see what you were needing from those 3 games?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was, it was a real benefit to be able to play those 3 games. First, because we didn't have spring ball. So the practices and the preparations for the game will really help us. Allow our coaches to get to know our team and our needs. And, we hadn't even been out there and saw guys compete against each other or against our opponents or anything. So it was something that was great to be able to have. And gave us direction to go. You can see that we're going to sign a big offensive line class. And some of those guys should be able to play this spring. Some of them will have to wait until next fall. But the emphasis of the size and quickness and, interior players, edge tackles, I think is something that we really learned from what we had in the spring and gave us a direction that we needed to go. So, we feel good about our defense. We felt like we played really good defense, and we have guys returning that have experience and speed. So really the emphasis of this class lean more towards the offensive players.
Coach, this obviously is all about relationships and in recruiting. And I think what we're seeing a consistent pattern, a lot of guys that either were with you or you recruited and didn't get where you were before, but you maintain those relationships, you and your staff, and then here they're paying dividends today.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what recruiting's all about is, you know, being able to go out and get to know the coaches and get to know the players and the parents and, you know, having good relationships with guys that maybe you don't get, but you recruited and worked really hard with. And I think that's helped us a lot. I think our staff having the experience in the state of California helps us a lot. We've got guys in Florida that know the coaches and things that go on there that helped us tremendously. It's been fun to get to know the coaches in the state of Missouri. And I really like the two guys we've got in the state of Missouri. I think both of them are really, really good players. And obviously to be able to get them to come here, I think was a really good job of recruiting by our assistant coaches.
And a little more on Stephen Ward II, just from Nixa. A lot of fans in the Ozarks will recognize his name. Just what did you see out of that young man?
You know, I'll be real honest with you. By the way he played on offense and running and catching the ball and doing the different things he did on offense, I think the first 5 plays that I watched of him were all on offense. And then all of a sudden he became over on defense, and he's able to flip his hips and get interceptions and run downhill and tackle. And his explosiveness, you know, running for touchdowns and tackling people and blitzing. He's a really good blitzer. And I think the other thing that you know, helps a lot is he went through a transition there. You know, they got a new coach and they changed it around, and he provided a tremendous amount of leadership for him in doing that. And we feel like his ability to go through that experience will help his leadership here for us.
You touched on the offensive line that you guys did. I mean, you're going to have guys that are going to be eligible for the spring. It just doesn't seem like too much of a rebuild. You guys are just like, oh, we see what we need. Let's get a whole bunch of guys that we know I mean, they're experienced and everything. Just it seems like you guys are trying to fix that real quick, and that was kind of a spot there you needed throughout those first 3 games, especially.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we felt like inside our strength and you know, our play inside is something we need to improve, and the physicality of it. And some of the guys that are here on campus right now are working tremendously hard in the weight room and flexibility and getting ready for the spring season. So I anticipate them being better. And then we add this new group in and having a lot of competition. Is something that'll just make everybody better. But it was definitely a need. You know, I feel like we had good young quarterbacks. And if we get better protection and better snaps and better things around them, they'll progress quicker than I liked. I didn't like how we progressed at quarterback, and you know, looking at the video and seeing things, some of it wasn't just the quarterbacks that had played into that.
You bring up quarterback. Are you bringing in another one? I believe there was one committed to you. I don't know if he's signed.
Yeah,
yet.
I feel like we'll end up having another one here, and you know, just one of those things where by rule we can't talk about it right now.
Coach, can you kind of go over what the calendar looks like as you head to spring football? I mean, how many weeks are they going to have off? When do you bring them all back? What are you going to kind of work on before that first game at the end of February?
Yeah, they've had a couple of weeks off already, and all our players will try to get back into town around the 6th of January. On the 11th of January, we're going to start our enhanced off-season workout program, which really means that you get the 8 hours of weightlifting and conditioning that you always get, but you also get 6 hours of meeting time and 6 hours of walkthroughs. So we'll do that and then start practicing on the 22nd, I believe it is, of January. I'm sure the sun's going to be out, no wind blowing, and it'll be awesome. And then we start playing on February 20th. So the term spring football might have came from somewhere else, because there's a lot of it's going to be done in the wintertime.
All right. Any other questions for Coach Petrino before we bring some of the assistant coaches on? If not, Coach, thank you so much for your time and congrats on a good day.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Defensive coordinator Ryan Beard is on deck, and we'll bring him on board.
Fellas, how we doing?
Good. Ryan, how are you doing?
Awesome. Doing great.
Fantastic. Why don't you talk about the defensive guys you guys have signed today and maybe take a few questions.
Yeah, we actually had a really, really good day. Like Coach Petrino said, the staff did an awesome job throwing this together and making sure we had the pieces that really complement each other. We can start off at linebacker. Obviously, we're looking at Udoka Izini. I'm still getting used to saying that name, so bear with me just a touch. He's a big, long linebacker out of Texas, has really good juice off the edge. And one thing we pride ourselves on the defensive side of the ball, anytime we watch film, is are they having a relentless effort at all times? Does their effort to the ball and their tenacity when they play the game pop? And this kid embodies that completely. 6'2", 207, really good length. He'll fit in our package really well because, as you can see from the 3 games in the fall, we do a lot with that position. We'll bring him in pressure, we'll drop him into coverage, and he'll be asked to do quite a few things there. So we're excited about him. And then another linebacker, Jordan Hoskins from Detroit, Michigan, 6'2", 205, really good linebacker, gets downhill, fits the run really well, uses his hands to get off blocks. Really, really excited about Jordan. He's a really smart football player, which, having smarts brings me into the next guy, Stephen Ward, hometown hero from Nixa High School, 6'1", 205. I can't tell you guys, and you guys probably know him a little better than I do, probably. But again, these 3 guys, what they really bring to the table is their versatility. They can all play any of the positions on the field that we need them to play and do it effectively. And I was kind of sitting back there laughing when you guys brought up Kyrie Mcdonald, and you see the Alabama in front of his name and the Cincinnati. He is an electric ball player. He's going to play everywhere in the secondary for us. We're going to pressure with him. We're going to play a bunch of man-to-man coverage and put him into situations to where he can win some one-on-one battles. Really excited about him. And again, it's hard to really put a position on him necessarily, just depending on the scheme we're facing that week or all those other variables that go into that. And his kick returning ability is electric. As a punt returner, he can take it the distance. He can do some really good things there, which is great. And then there's a safety, Todrick Mcgee from Wichita, Kansas, has really good length, covers the ground. And particularly as the DB's coach, I like guys that understand the position. He's got high football IQ. He understands the schemes, and probably the thing I like most is when he arrives at the ball carrier, he's in a really bad mood and he puts his body on people, which is exciting to watch. I'm going to mention this next player. He's listed as an athlete. It's been an offensive, defensive fight for where he ends up. We're not really sure. So Taiwan Lee, all right, he's from Hilliard High School. He is just an all-around football playing dude. He's the running back. He plays corner. He plays safety. He'll play nickel. He does it all. And I'm interested to see where he ends up and where he fits in the fold. But I'll go on and introduce him as a defensive player just in case he ends up on our side, because I'd love to have him. So that's and we should have one more guy coming to us. Obviously, he hasn't signed, so I can't speak on that. But again, really good job by the defensive staff getting to know these guys. And it's really simple when we evaluate film. Do you play hard? Are you productive? And are you smart enough to take coaching and be a good teammate? That's really what's important to us on the defensive side. And any questions you guys got, let's fire away.
Yeah, Coach, you guys it was really impressive what you guys did defensively in those 3 games. Just kind of where did you see that you needed improvement, and how do you think you addressed that today?
We need to create turnovers. That's one thing. I know we had 2 interceptions from Jeremy, and we had a few 4th down stops, which obviously go into that category. But we have to do a better job of getting the ball to the offense as many times as we possibly can. To addressing that, obviously Kyrie on the back end will do a great job. And one thing you've noticed, obviously you guys watched all of our games, we bring pressure from everywhere. I like to be able to bring pressure from the corners, the safeties, all three linebackers. And that's one thing we pride ourselves on when we connect with these kids and we tell them what we can possibly do for their future is when an NFL team turns on your tape, they're going to see you doing all the variables that you can possibly do on a football field. And that helps keep us balanced. And again, football IQ is one thing that helps these guys because we want to get them in and help them play early. And that's important.
Hey, Coach, do you think that Kyrie Mcdonald will be able to play this spring, or is he one that you have to wait?
I think he's going to be good to go. I think he will be ready to play, and he's excited. And he's a guy I'm really excited about. Once you guys get to interact with him a little bit and watch him practice, he is a great person. He is excited to get back on the football field, and I think he's going to do some really special things here at Missouri State.
All right. Anything?
How weird is it? I mean, you're on a signing day and you're kind of adding players to a season that's already in progress. I mean, you're going to be able to, it's like free agent pickups at this point.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, we've rolled with the punches pretty well. It's pretty cool because, Wyatt, you kind of alluded to it earlier. What did you see in the 3 games and what are you trying to fix? It's almost like you get a timeout in your season to adjust some things to make sure your package fits the next few games coming up and just be able to patch a few things together here and there to make you more effective.
All right, Coach Beard, thank you so much for your help.
Awesome.
Man.
Thanks, fellas.
Congratulations. All right. We got 2 more coaches on deck for you. Next up is Coach Jeremy Darvo, the offensive line coach. He's added, looks like 5 guys so far, and I'm sure he'll be really excited to tell you guys all about those. Coach, how are you doing today?
Good. How y'all doing?
Yeah, fantastic. Tell us about the guys you've signed so far and what you look for from them.
Yeah, well, obviously, Coach already talked about the need at offensive line for us. That was a big area of concern that we wanted to make sure we addressed, and I feel like we did a really good job at that. So when we were looking at offensive linemen, the 2 things we were looking at was speed and toughness. And to me, throughout my career, everything with offensive lines always started with toughness, and then we build from there. We build into technique, we build into assignment, we build into all the other things. So when you look at these offensive linemen that we signed, the number one thing you're going to see is they're nasty, right? And that's what you want when you look at offensive linemen. You want to see nasty guys that hang around in the mud and do all that stuff. Those are what you're looking for. So we ended up signing 5 offensive linemen, and we've got 1 more that, we can't talk about yet, but he's sitting in the batter's circle right now. Out of those 5 offensive linemen, we have 4 transfers and 1 high school kid. So what I'll go over is I'll just start at the top and work down. First one is Mark Hutchinson. So Mark Hutchinson came to us from the City College of San Francisco. He's a 280-pound, 300-pounder from us. He will come in classified as a high school player, okay? So he has been to some JUCOs, but he will come in classified as high school. He was one of our first commits, has been all in, all about Missouri State for a while now. And his film, when you look at it, the one thing that stands out to him is he's a guy that can just roll his hips when he comes off the ball. And when I say roll your hips, I'm talking about creating leverage, right, on a defensive lineman. And when you create leverage on a defensive lineman, you create pancake blocks, right? You make breakfast. So that's something that we really like about him. Next one to talk about is Nick Gallo. So Nick Gallo came to us from Independence Community College, but actually his last time playing was out at San Diego Mesa. He was a late addition. In fact, we really just got all his stuff wrapped up about 30 minutes before getting on this call with you guys. He's got a whole bunch of offers, a lot of offers that he had, so we had to do some competition for him. And he's just a really good get. When you watch his film and you see the first play on the goal line when he just rolls off the ball, I mean, that's what you're looking for, is a guy that can just move a defensive lineman, and he really does a great job at that. And he's a 300-pounder as well, 6'3" guy. Moving on down, Sean Fitzgerald was a really good get for us. So he started his college career at the University of Michigan, played at Michigan, transferred then to Coastal Carolina University, where he was at and playing this year. He is a really guy that's been committed to us for a long time as well. He's an older guy. He's a leader for what I think will be a big group of offensive linemen, and I'm really looking forward to working with him. You know, you need some smart guys, offensive linemen. We always talk about low pads, high GPAs. You know, those are what you want. And he's one of those really smart guys for offensive linemen. Next one to talk about is Kendrick Davis. So Kendrick Davis comes to us from Fort Hays State. So Fort Hays is a Division II school, and he comes to us as a graduate transfer. Now, one thing about him is he was an outstanding Division II player. In fact, he's on several NFL watch lists. For that level, he was probably one of the best offensive linemen they have, and he wanted to get out and really work the Division I level. Has always been one of his dreams, and we feel like that was a great fit for us and him. And he's another guy that's going to be an older guy. He's going to kind of be the grandfather of the room just because he's been around and done all that stuff. And he's another one that's totally bought in. Like, he is all about us and all about what we're doing and all about our vision. Last one I'll talk about is Brett Harris. So he's our high school kid. So Brett comes to us from Rockhurst High School. He's a 6'6", 285-pounder, held a ton of FCS and FBS offers. Really good get for us. He's long, runs really well, comes from a football family, and we're just really, really fortunate to have him as part of our staff, or excuse me, part of our offensive line. But that's our group right now. We really like them. They're tough, they're mean, they're aggressive, and that's what I want. What do you guys got? Any questions?
You had 3 games. You were able to see these guys that you kind of inherited. Just what did you see in that made you have to go? You added a whole bunch of experience in this one with a whole bunch of transfers. Just what was kind of the goal as a collective, just kind of bringing all these guys in?
To create competition is the easiest answer to that. You know, one of the worst things as a football player is when you have nobody pushing you, right? When you've got just either a lot of young kids or, you know, just for whatever reason, you're not being pushed. And I think that with this group of offensive linemen that we've got, we're going to get guys that either push the ones we have to play to their top potential, or will come in and earn those spots. And I think that's what makes great football players, period, is being pushed and having to face competition.
What'd you see from that unit just in those 3 games? They got better as it went on, but how'd you end up seeing them just going into this?
Yeah, we definitely got better as we went on. You kind of, you know, we faced a lot of adversity in that room with COVID and all that stuff. So it was a very stressful season to be any sort of coach, especially an offensive line coach. And but you know, I think the one thing that we did really well, like you're talking about, Wyatt, is we constantly improved. And that was the one thing I really wanted to see from that group, is from day to day, week to week, game to game, you see him get better, and you see him get better, and you see him get better. I think that, you know, you look at things that we need to get better at, we need to get stronger, right? I mean, that's the one thing we got to do. We got to put some iron on our backs. We got to lift. We got to hit the sled. We got to do all those things that make you a stronger, nastier offensive line. And I think that these guys coming in will push those guys to do that. Good.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Batting cleanup will be the recruiting coordinator, Ronnie Fouch, who's also the running backs coach, and a couple of additional running backs to his crew to talk about. We'll let Ronnie get settled in and let you make some opening comments about your crew. Thanks for joining us, Ronnie.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Great.
Good. First of all, I just wanted to say it's been a great day for our program, and we addressed a lot of needs like Coach talked about. Thought we did a great job of, you know, as assistant coaches, aggressively recruiting our top guys on our board and going out and getting them. You know, we didn't take no for an answer. We had some late additions, you know, like Coach Darvo said this morning. And it's really a tribute to our staff and how hard they worked throughout the process, you know, dealing with COVID and not being able to have official visits. So we really just tried to address, you know, the relationships, build relationships with the coach and each player, and just make them feel comfortable with this university. And it took a lot of work, but our assistant coaches and Coach Petrino did a great job of closing down and finishing off this day. At the running back position, I thought we did a great job of getting two big physical backs, both with experience at the Division I level. And, you know, we can start with Andrew Cunningham from Tampa, Florida, went to Georgia Southern and then Iowa Central. He's a bright-eyed kid, you know, over the phone. He's a great kid to talk to, very intelligent, seems like a hard worker, eager to learn the offense. So I'm excited to get with him and start building that relationship and teaching him the system. And, you know, he has a very strong lower body. And you can see on the highlights, he's got great vision, you know, with inside zone and gap scheme. He's got, you know, he's got disciplined eyes and knows where to hit the hole. And then he has a strength to break tackles and get a lot of yards after contact. So we're really excited about him. Tobias Little from Louisville, out of Mays High School in Atlanta, Georgia. I was there at Louisville when he came in as a freshman. Very strong kid right when he walked in the door. Very intelligent. Like Coach said, he's up to 237 pounds, but he can run. And he did a lot of things for us in my career at Louisville, blocking and catching and running the ball. And we're going to give him a shot at running back, and I think he's going to help us a lot. He knows the offense, and he's going to bring leadership in my meeting room and teach these guys how to work and play at a high level. And he's also going to give us a lot of leadership in the weight room. Very strong kid in the weight room, and we're really excited to add these two guys and get a big physical downhill running game going with these new alignment we signed.
Coach, do you think that Tobias will be able to play this spring, or is he going to have to wait?
We do. We feel like he's able to play. He opted out before this season at Louisville, and he's healthy. He's ready to go. And he knows the offense. Like I said, he's going to come in and just have to remember everything. I'll make sure it comes back around and he remembers the system. And he's going to come in and get a great shot to play and be a leader in this offense.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit about, no offense, this team has not won a game yet. They're 0-3, but you brought in all of these transfers, signed these quality players. They're coming to help turn this program. Just talk a little bit about the fact that they're not looking at W's and L's. They're looking at potential.
And I think this coaching staff and just the opportunity to come in and get early playing time and be coached by coaches that have coached multiple first rounders. And it's the beauty of football. We're going to bring these guys in, try and get them acclimated as soon as possible and build a championship program and really gel as a team throughout this short off season that we have.
I mean, it's almost like, you guys were able to watch the FBS guys play and go through all of their troubles. And everybody's like, oh yeah, they're still going to be spring football, but you're getting all these guys in, you're going to be able to play games with them immediately. Right.
It's exciting. We're very excited. And like Coach said, we addressed some needs on offense and working on the offensive side of the ball. I'm very excited, and adding some young talent from the local area and, a good mixture of junior college and Division I transfers. And we're going to get this thing going and get them acclimated and get going in camp and start competing. I think we added a lot of speed, a lot of size, and a lot of toughness inside.
Looking at the running backs, you have a great running back in Jeremiah Wilson. If he's just able to stay on the field, we've seen how great he can be. Just kind of what goes into adding a couple really, kind of high-profile guys when you look at a Louisville transfer that had a chance at starting for Bobby in Louisville. Austin was also very highly recruited until he got injured in college. Just kind of what is it about adding these two guys, and how are they going to mix when you already have a really good feature back?
Yeah, it's a good question. Jeremiah had a great game in that third game, against the second time we played Central Arkansas. Thought he had some great runs and showed some promise. The main thing we're trying to do there at that position is just develop competition around him. It's only going to make him better. It's going to challenge him to, work harder this off season and, have some older guys that can lead him, and push him every day.
That's three guys there with injury histories. Just kind of, okay, how does that help you sleep as a running backs coach?
Yeah, they're healthy right now, so we're going to go full speed and, focus on what we can control, and that's teaching them the offense and getting them up to speed as fast as possible and throwing them out there to compete and bring their physical nature to this offense.
Coach Petrino, when speaking about Stephen Ward II, first said he saw his offensive plays. How much maybe down the road will there be a battle with you guys and Coach Beard to try and get maybe Ward some offensive plays, right? Are you looking at him like that?
Right now, he's signing as a linebacker. There's definitely been some discussions on a lot of these guys that play both ways in high school, and we're having some competitions. There's definitely some recruits who signed today that I would love to have at running back, but we're going to do what's best for the team. Coach Petrino does a great job of evaluating talent and putting guys in the right position.
All right, Ronnie, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate everybody else attending today.